got back from my hike from the coast. Had a good time. We got my head shaved too. So, what's going on? What am I reviewing next? On second thought, it's October, it's Halloween, so why don't we do something scary in celebration of the holiday? I know there's one specific game I want to... Wait, what? Who said that? Ah! Ah! Hello, I'm David. This is my work outside year-round. So, after SA2, all eyes were on Sega to create a third Sonic Adventure game. Unfortunately, though, we didn't get that. Instead, we got this game, which completely changed up the style of play from before. And why is that? Well, apparently, after Adventure 2, Takashi Iizuka, one of the head honchos of the franchise, didn't want to make an Adventure 3 because he thought it would only appeal to core Sonic fans. So, you're telling me the reason one of the most requested games of all time never came out was because you pussed out? Yes, Mr. Iizuka, a Sonic Adventure 3 would appeal to the hardcore Sonic players of old, but it would also appeal to the tons of kids who were introduced to the franchise thanks to Sonic Adventure 3, like I mentioned in the last fucking review! Okay, so what do they do instead?
Hi! I'm Omo-Chow.
Oh god!
Much like the Adventure title, Sonic Heroes is a three-dimensional, high-speed action platformer, with tons of characters to play as and multiple story campaigns to play through to unlock the final story segment at the end to finish the game. Unlike the Adventure titles, however, Sonic Heroes is built around team-based gameplay. At all times, you are in control of one of three separate characters, who you can switch between for different attacks and abilities, leading the others in an effort to stop Dr. Eggman from taking over the world once more.
Of course!
Each of the three characters in one of the four teams have a different role in beating the bad guys and progressing through the game. First, you got your speed characters, highlighted in blue, who are usually there to race through a level at Sonic speed. Next, there are your power characters, highlighted in red, who serve as the muscle of the group and are often the best option to deal with any opposition. Lastly, there are the flight characters, highlighted in yellow, who can carry the team across any level with their ability to fly, and, like the power characters, can use their friends as blunt weapons of mass destruction. Every group has something called a Team Blast, which is basically just a screen nuke that destroys any and almost every enemy in the near vicinity. To do the Team Blast, you first need to charge it up by collecting rings, destroying Eggman's robots, or by accumulating points through some type of means. It can be very useful in a jam and is pretty easy to charge up, plus some of the teams get an added bonus effect from their own Team Blast, which just breaks the frickin' game. And that's about it, really. The game itself is not much more complicated than that outside of its slippery as fuck controls and wonky collision detection issues. It's actually kind of funny. One of the biggest criticisms about this game is how fast the characters move, causing many to go careening off cliffs because of it. But the most fucked up thing about it is that this game runs off the same engine as the first two Adventure titles. Yeah, they just cranked up the acceleration through the roof and everybody, especially the speed characters, move like they're on fucking crack. Oh god, it's so much worse than the special stages though.
Oh yeah! Special stages are back.
That's right, back all the way from 1994, or 92 really, are special stages, so guess what? It's time to collect those Chaos Emeralds again, motherfuckers. Even better! The final story segment is now locked not only behind completing all 4 story campaigns, but also behind gathering the 7 Chaos Emeralds. And to enter the special stages, you need to find some random ass key locked in a steel cage, and then not get hit for the rest of the level. In a game where there are tons of enemies plastered all over the place and can easily strike you, causing the key to disappear.
But wait, there's more!
Make it to the end of the level with the key intact and you can enter the special stage! stage where the goal is to collect carnival balls and get faster to catch up with the running Chaos Emerald. Fail to catch up with the Emerald and you lose, and you'll have to do the whole process over again, which is very easy to do, because while in a special stage, characters move at the fucking speed of goddamn light, making it excessively difficult to beat a special stage and overwhelmingly tiring to even get there in the first place. And is it worth doing all that just to get to the final boss fight? No, because today's story is nothing short of mediocre. How so? Well, I'll tell you. Our tale begins with our hero Sonic running around the desert until Tails and Knuckles happen to find him. Turns out Tails has managed to get his hands on a message from the infamous Dr. Eggman. This thing is impressive. It is simultaneously a letter and a video recording at the same time. With sound! This thing has fucking sound coming out of it. You know, I'm glad to see the Tornado 2 again, but I have to ask, why was the letter addressed to Tails? Could Eggman not have just programmed a badnik robot to deliver it to Sonic personally? That doesn't matter to the Blue Blur, though. With the news that Eggman plans to unveil his ultimate weapon in a few days, the classic trio head off to confront the Mad Doctor. Meanwhile, somewhere on the coast, Amy decides to go look for Sonic with the help of Cream the Rabbit and the returning Big the Cat. Thanks to this incriminating photo, it looks like Sonic made off with some of their pets, so they're off to find out what's going on. Yes, Big lost the goddamn frog again. And you're probably wondering what this adorable little blue mutant is flying around with Cream. That's Cheese the Chow. Chow are cute eldritch abominations that just exist in Sonic's world. There's a little pet simulator in both adventure tiles that you can play to raise these things, which is necessary to do if you want to collect all the emblems in those games. Anyway, in plot number 3, this crocodile motherfucker and this chameleon son of a bitch are just chilling out until this brat comes bursting in. These are the Chaotix, a team starring Victor the Crocodile, SBO the Chameleon, and Charmy B. They actually used to run with Knuckles a long time ago, but you never know unless you played Knuckles Chaotix. Why did they split up after all this time? Well, I have no fucking clue. It's strange though, I feel like there's something missing from the team. It's probably nothing. Anyway, the Chaotix get a message in the mail inviting them to solve the mystery of Eggman's plans. They run a detective agency, you see, and they desperately need the money because rent's due, bitch. Now for the actual interesting shit. Rouge, in a new outfit, which I don't know if is better or worse, infiltrates one of Eggman's bases for his secret treasure. Where she happens to find Shadow. Hey, don't look so shocked to see him, Rouge. He was in his super state when he fell to Earth at the end of Adventure 2. Honestly, when you think about it, him surviving is not that much of a surprise. Yeah, what? The hell is with this game in this intro? It's supposed to allude to the idea that this Shadow is a robot and not the one that we know from Adventure 2. But there's tons of dialogue in the game of Shadow calling himself the ultimate life form, and even lines that suggest he does remember some of his past with Sonic in the game. Oh yeah, he has amnesia, by the way, as we didn't get enough of that in Adventure 2. So Rouge decides to have the three of them team up to track down Dr. Eggman and get some answers.
Oh yeah, baby, this makes us a team.
You know, this little troop between Rouge, Shadow, and Omega is not just a one-time thing. This is actually the formation of a special little unit of theirs called Team Dark, and this is the ceremonious line that brought them together.
Oh yeah, baby, this makes us a team.
10 out of 10.
So, with everyone set on their journey, it's time to track down Dr. Eggman and stop him from— oh, I'm sorry, read him, Shadow Robot. Yeah, this is where basically everyone's story takes a backseat from Team Dark's adventure. Like I mentioned earlier, there's this constant foreshadowing that the Shadow with them may very well be a robot. First there's Omega identifying him as one of Eggman's robots, then the Mad Doctor himself telling Shadow that he has no past to remember, this sudden drop, and finally Eggman's secret treasure turning out to be a bunch of Shadow replicas. This prompts Rouge to believe that the Shadow with them all this time has been a robot. But Omega—
you know about cloning. The original must exist somewhere.
Oh, Omega, you don't even know the half of it. Meanwhile, Sonic stops Dr. Eggman, Big and Cream get their pets back, and Amy chases after the Blue Blur. But the Chaotix, meanwhile, learn who it was that really hired him. Halfway through their story, they notice that their informant seems to know a lot about the Mad Doctor's plans, yet takes offense to when they insult the man's mustache. That's right, this whole time, the man who hired the Chaotix to investigate Eggman's plans was— Dr. Eggman! Wait, what? He's been locked up in here the whole time? Well, I guess that explains why Omega got locked up and why Eggman didn't recognize his own creation when they first met, but if everybody's been chasing after a fake this whole time, then who's behind all this?
All life form data successfully copied.
That's right, it was Metal Sonic this whole time. Guess he's still pissed about what happened on Little Planet, so now he's here to bring on the madness.
All living things kneel before your master.
When did this game suddenly become a horror film? Sonic goes super and kicks his ass.
It's no use. But why can't I defeat you?
Because we're Sonic Heroes.
Oh, here's something alright. So, Sonic Heroes' story. It's alright. I have to admit, the change in the tone back to something lighthearted after the serious fest that was the adventure games is a nice change of pace. There's no monstrous water dude trying to destroy the world, no conspiracy covering up a horrible tragedy, just a bunch of heroes coming together to stop one robotic baddie. Truly a contender to Age of Ultron. Joking aside, this is more of what I expect from a Sonic story. Though, the mystery around Shadow being a real boy or not does show that this series is capable of some more mature storytelling, with the expressions Rouge gives and everyone's reactions to everything, but it's just not the focus here. Which I understand, this game established pretty early on that it just wasn't the story for it. Really, it's all just set up for another tale another day, specifically for Shadow's character. Speaking of character, everybody's really been able to shine here, and the writing captures everyone's individual personalities really well. Sonic is as heroic as always, but this game really starts to show his more comedic side. He's not the cracking jokes and making fun of Eggman. I have to say, I think it's a perfect portrayal of the Blue Blur right behind his act in the first Avenger game. And Ryan Drummond is always a pleasure. Knuckles' tough guy attitude is much betterly displayed here than it was in the Adventure games. Back then, his defining personality trait was that he was a gullible dork. Here, he's much more aware of his surroundings and happenings around him, cracks a few jokes along with Sonic. I especially love this one after they see Shadow is alive and they arrive at a spooky castle.
Maybe that's the ghost of Shadow we saw earlier.
Stop it, Knuckles!
Oh god, Tails, what did they do to you? So, after Adventure 1, Corey Bringus, who voiced Tails in that game, his balls dropped, so they had to hire his little brother, Connor Bringus, to voice the little dude in Adventure 2. And his balls dropped, so they got this random-ass kid to do the job.
Sonic, we only have 24 hours left!
He wasn't very good, and they screwed over Tails' character a whole lot. What happened to all that confidence building in the first two Adventure games? Shadow's amnesia in this game was really unnecessary. His whole arc in Adventure 2 was all about his fuzzy memory and identity as an agent of vengeance or righteousness, so here it just comes off as redundant and forced for the sake of drama. But he's always had this problem of having the most complicated and dramatic backstory, which may have been the reason why so many people liked him, because he's just so different in contrast with the rest of the cast. Then there's this pointless pile of scraps. E123 Omega. Yes, this is the successor of E102 Gamma, the best part of the first Adventure game. Don't believe me? Well, let's quickly summarize each character's arc in that game with as few words as possible thanks to this nifty little meme I found. Sonic, speed! Tails, I'm a brave boy. Knuckles, ba-dum-burk. Amy, being useful. Big, the fuck is Froggy at? Gamma? As a robot initially created for war and violence, I begin to question and understand the meaning of life. love, and why we cherish things that we hold close, even if it doesn't bring us any benefits. I then take it upon myself to go against my objective and master to free my brothers from Robotnik's grasp, killing them one by one. I believe this would be the way to save them, as they haven't been blessed with my gift of free will and cannot understand the difference between right or wrong. After discovering that I, myself, am not free as a bird remains trapped in my mechanical vessel, I take it upon myself to end my own life by activating my self-destruct sequence to free the bird, ultimately ending my short-lived story.
And Omega?
I was built by Eggman to be the final and best fighting robot of the 100 line, but due to a certain series of events that will be revealed as this game progresses, I was never deployed and was trapped in this room. So I gained free will out of nowhere and grew a vendetta against the Mad Doctor, so now I wanna break his shit.
Fucking Shakespeare. As much as I do prefer Gamma over Omega, Omega is a child of destruction that loves what he does with every fiber of his being, and I love him. But there's something to be said about his origins. Namely, well, remember how Gamma broke free of Robotnik's control thanks to Amy? What's Omega's excuse for gaining free will? He comes right the fuck out of nowhere with this vendetta of his when shouldn't he be firmly under Eggman's control? At least in the Archie comics they explained that he was designed to hunt down Gamma after he went rogue, and that before he could be destroyed, Gamma transferred the free will code over to Omega so he could decide what he wanted to do with his life. But here is nothing. Rouge takes one hell of a turn from her character in Avenger 2. There she was all like, Jules, Jules, Jules! But here she's so focused on taking down Eggman. And what's with that outfit of hers? I don't think Shadow's the one we need to worry of whether or not he's a robot. Amy weirdly rises into the position of a leader in this game, and for some goddamn reason it works flawlessly. She's constantly motivating her team to push through the opposition, but still retains some of her old tendencies. Big as a fat fuck, moving on. Cream is an adorable little bunny rabbit, so disgustingly innocent she makes me puke out childlike wonder. Espio is a ninja. He's highly proficient with kunai knives and is an expert in the field of stealth. He takes his work very seriously, and based on the way he speaks, may have been enlisted in some sort of military outfit sometime in his life. Wait a minute. Espio? Espionage? Oh, you sly motherfuckers. Vector, you would think based on his appearance, is a rapper or even gangsta. But no, he's just a detective that happens to dress like a hip-hop artist. Then there's Charmy, super enthusiastic and excitable, and I hate him! Dr. Eggman, when he is finally on screen, is so underconfident and hopeless. He's quick to give up once Metal Sonic transforms, and is in complete disbelief once everybody presents the Chaos Emeralds. Speaking of which, where did everybody get those? I know we, the players, collected them in the special stages beforehand, but in the actual story they aren't brought up until the final act, and everybody just seems to have them for some reason. But to go back to Eggman, I guess getting locked up by your own creation really puts a damper on your self-esteem. Which leads us to our villain for today, Metal Sonic. The most obvious question is, why did he betray Eggman? But remember, in my look at Sonic CD, I said that Metal Sonic was programmed to prove himself to be the superior Sonic the Hedgehog. Well, Sonic would have stopped Eggman, and that's what Metal did. But my criticisms against the bot are not in his motivations. No, I completely understand where he's coming from, but it's in another missed opportunity. Metal goes on and on about being a supreme overlord throughout the final fight. It seems like he was trying to achieve a state of great power because by the time he falls, he yells out, So, is there more to what he wants than just defeating Sonic? But yeah, the story in this game is fine and perfectly serviceable, but I don't know. I feel like the only real purpose for Sonic Heroes' story is to reintroduce the Chaotix, Metal Sonic, and Shadow into the series, introduce E123 Omega into the fray, bring Cream the Rabbit out of obscurity, and give Duke Nukem some work before his next big game comes out. It's especially not worth going through the trouble of playing the game 4 times to unlock the final story segment. Yeah, a lovely little thing the developers decided to omit from the previous game is that the teams now share the same 14 levels across the entire run, and again, you need to play through them all to unlock the final story segment to actually beat the game. That is horseshit. At least in Adventure 1, the levels shared between characters were built to mesh together with their individual playstyles, and it came out pretty well. But there's so much more monotony here, because aside from a few different moves, every team plays the exact goddamn same, and it just gets boring after a while.
Sonic Heroes, because of its underwhelming story and absolute shitty-ass gameplay, gets what it only deserves. Gun to the face. Next time we go deeper into the dark age of Sonic and straight into a plot hole with Shadow the Hedgehog. Until next time, I'm David, and I'll catch you on the flip side. I should probably change it to something warmer. Yeah.